Some more details about this reverse trike that I didn't share in the first video. So I said that Volkswagen Carburetor I got off eBay. I don't know if I mentioned that that thing was only $64.99 on eBay plus probably free shipping. It's freaking badass. Engine runs like a champ with it. Might be a manifold leak somewhere, I don't know, but just the fact that it's running is amazing. And then some other stuff I did. I got this from, what is it, Rick's Power Sports Electronics or something. This is like a regulator rectifier that's oversized, made a little bit more beefy to withstand higher electrical draws since I've got two headlights on the front of there. And then I also put a Rick's Power Sport alternator in there too and hooked it up to their, their recommended regulator rectifier. And that just makes the engine run so much better. I don't have to worry about the electrical system being overloaded. Another thing, these seats. I mean, you buy custom race seats on eBay, I think is the cheapest place for like $200, $300 or whatever, maybe cheaper than that if you look. I went down to LKQ Junkyard, or Pull Apart Junkyard. I bought these seats for, I think, $34.99 each. They came out of a Honda Civic. Granted, when it rains, it's gonna kind of suck. Maybe I want to put some waterproof covers on this thing, but I don't really plan on driving this thing when it rains, honestly. And if I park it somewhere and it starts raining, well, shit, I only spent $34.99 on the seats. I guess I could get some waterproof covers between now and then, or maybe keep a blue tarp somewhere back in the engine compartment. Of course, it'd probably melt if I put it back there, but nonetheless, I didn't have to buy freaking race seats to install my reverse trike. I went to the junkyard and got Honda Civic seats. The cool thing about this is I use this unistrut. This is actually not full unistrut. We call it thin strut or half strut at work. We use it for a lot of electrical and plumbing installations. Well, as an electrician, use it for electrical panel installations. But these car seat mounts are kind of a what is that, like a 50-degree angle or something. I just figured out where I wanted them, where I wanted the seats, and then I welded the unistrut onto the side of the frame at approximately the same angle there. And then on the back, this one was kind of at an angle also, but like what's weird is on these seats, 3 out of the 4 supports are an angle, but the last one, like on the driver's side, the right back corner is flat, so I welded the unistrut on there flat, and then on the passenger side, same thing, or the left rear one is flat, so I've got that little piece of unistrut, and they're like that. I wanted to say something about the clutch pedal assembly. Never do what I did. Now I'm advertising going to the junkyard and taking all these fancy parts out of pre-existing cars and using them because you can get them for cheap, but oh my god, I spent probably, I don't even want to say 12 plus hours fabbing and trying to figure out how in the world to mount this 3-pedal clutch assembly because I didn't want to buy the $300 or $400 one out of Summit Racing, Wilcox Braking or something for too much, what I thought was too much money. But if I could do this over again, I would have mounted the one that you mount to the floor, the 3-pedal clutch assembly that's got the throttle and then the brake master cylinder and the clutch master cylinder for it. That would have been so much more easy because I had to slightly modify my frame here to make all that crap fit in there. I came dangerously close to my steering shaft on here, and my foot, if I'm wearing my big work boots, still kind of hits the steering shaft when I'm driving it. So it ain't perfect. I'm just happy that I actually made this thing and got it done, and I can brag, hey, I got this clutch pedal assembly out of a junkyard for, $30 or $40 instead of spending the $400 from the Summit Racing. But now if I could go back in time once again, I would have bought the floor-mounted clutch pedal assembly. It would have made installation so much easier. In the second trike that I build, I'm going to do that. Some more stuff. The steering shaft was the actual steering shaft from a Mazda Miata. I did shorten it so that it would fit in the dimensions that I built this trike to. Overall, I wanted this trike to be a little bit shorter. I didn't want it to be real long. I guess I wanted it to be kind of like the T-Rex a little bit. And I thought that was going to be hard to do with this V4 engine because this engine takes up a little bit more space frontwards and backwards than a inline 4 sport engine would. But I still got everything scrunched in there pretty well. And then I've got this, this whole frame or whatever welded with the square steel tubing, and then I've got special angle iron real thick iron angles that I welded on there that I mounted the lower control arms to. And then I put this 14 gauge plate right here for kind of a foot pan, and same thing right here, and then I put this thin gauge right here, which I might change out for a thicker gauge. But yeah, the steering shaft with this universal joint on there, I had to shorten the shaft right down there, I think. And then this is me using more unistrut, which I just love for any type of construction and even fabrication, metal fabrication project. Unistrut in my book is one of the, it's just a really cool invention. It's not like the best thing in the world, but it's extremely useful for all sorts of projects. Some car builders would probably shun me for using this to mount my dashboard and also my steering column onto. But hey, you know what? It worked great. I built this car almost from the ground up, and it works. You know, not only does it work, it works great for mounting stuff onto it. It's sturdy enough, you know, after I welded it on there, and I can mount components. And this is the cool part. I use this, what is this, 1.25" electrical conduit, because it was the exact same size or pretty close to the fork, so I was able to use the original blinkers to mount onto it, and that was just fun. And to kind of give you a brief overview of how I mounted these shocks or how I designed the frame, I've got a frame for a second trike project that I'm doing right here, and you can kind of see I've just welded it. I've got, you know, 2 long pieces of metal, 2 long pieces of tube for the main frame, and then I've got the front. This is just the basis of how you do the front suspension. The upper control arm connects here, and then the lower control arm fixed there after you know, weld some type of angle iron there and there. But yeah, I mean, it was just fun to build. What else did I want to say about this real quick? Those headlights were like $11 a piece off of eBay. Seats, yeah, I ordered a new CDI box as that was ruined from the flood. And then also, when this guy sold this to me, he had changed the rear sprocket out for a smaller rear sprocket so he could go faster on his Magna, probably why I got into an accident. So when I popped it in the first gear for the first time, the gear ratio sucked so bad that it started stalling, and I realized he had an ultra small sprocket on there, so I got like a 44. He had a 30 something, 34 tooth, and I bumped it. I bought a 44 or 45 tooth rear sprocket to lower the gear ratio, you know, to push this whole vehicle, and had to order a new chain for it too. All that stuff I got off, you know, the lowest bidding website or whatever. And but no, I mean, this thing, I had to mod a lot of stuff, but I learned an incredible amount, especially about motorcycle electrical system, because I replaced just about the entire electrical system. I replaced the ignition coils, the pickup coils, the CDI box, a lot of the relays in there, the regulator rectifier, which takes the alternating current from the alternator, which I also replaced too. I replaced the alternator and turns it into straight DC 12 volt and regulates the voltage to make sure that it stays right at 14.4 volts. But anyways, and then once again, like, the hardest project was fabricating this little intake. I call it the iron pig. Freaking iron pig intake manifold, which is probably highly inefficient, probably why my engine backfires every once in a while if I'm idling it too slow or doing something weird with it. But damn, it was fun to make. And just getting to drive this thing around the block after